September 16th, 2024, a hotel in Manhattan. That night, everything changed. It wasn't just the end of a legend, it was the day the truth came out. The man at the center? Sean P. Diddy Combs. He had almost $1 billion. He was powerful, famous, feared. But no amount of money can hide the truth forever. For years, he didn't just work in music, he controlled it. He sold clothes, he sold dreams. His name could make or break careers. It could buy silence. People thought he was untouchable, too rich to fail. They were wrong. Wait, before you keep scrolling, stop. You've seen the videos, the news clips, the drama. But here's the thing. Those videos only show you parts of the story. They care about clicks, not the truth. And no one is putting all the pieces together. From a kid with no father in Harlem to a jail cell in Brooklyn. This isn't gossip. This isn't just drama. This is the real story of how a 30-year empire fell apart. And it all happened in just 18 months. Now, let's go back to the start. Sean Combs was born in Harlem, New York, on November 4th, 1969. But his childhood ended fast. When he was just 3 years old, his father was killed. To survive, his mother moved the family to Mount Vernon. Life was hard. There was no father, no money, and no safety net. But inside him, something was already growing. He had no connections and no shortcuts. All he had was a deep, dangerous hunger. And hunger changes a person. In 1990, he begged for an unpaid internship at Uptown Records, even dropping out of college to chase music full-time. But 3 years later, Uptown fired him without warning. Most people would have quit right there. But he didn't cry, and he didn't slow down. He built Bad Boy Records from nothing. That label didn't just make music. It changed hip-hop forever. A monster had been born. Bad Boy would go on to sell over 500 million records. But it was the first artist he signed who changed everything. A heavy rapper from Brooklyn with a dark story. His name was the Notorious B.I.G. And after that, nothing would ever be the same. His real name was Christopher Wallace, but the streets knew him as the Notorious B.I.G. In 1993, Diddy signed him right away. Just 1 year later, his album Ready to Die sold over 4 million copies. Bad Boy wasn't small anymore. It became the king of East Coast hip-hop. Diddy had done the impossible. In record time, he went from an unpaid intern to the most feared name in music. Now everyone was watching. Every artist wanted to join Bad Boy. Every label tried to copy his formula. And every rival feared his power. He built his throne fast. After Biggie came stars like Craig Mack, Faith Evans, and Mace. Then came 112, Total, and the LOX. With hit after hit, Bad Boy owned the radio. Money flooded in. By the late 1990s, the label was worth hundreds of millions of dollars. But behind the scenes, success changed the rules. The contracts were harsh and Diddy's control was tight. The artists started to feel trapped. They smiled in music videos and at award shows, but behind closed doors, anger was growing. It got so bad that one artist actually threw a chair at Diddy. What could push someone that far? Craig Mack gave Bad Boy its first hit in 1994. The song was Flava in Ya Ear. But when Biggie blew up, Craig got pushed aside. He never came back. Mace became one of the biggest rappers alive. Then he quit and became a pastor. Years later, he said the contract trapped him. He felt stuck. The LOX begged in public to leave Bad Boy. Styles P got so angry he threw a chair at Diddy. Black Rob gave the label the hit song, Whoa! But in 2021, he died broke and sick. Fans blamed Diddy for leaving him behind. For decades, Diddy kept the publishing rights to his artists' music. That is where the real money lives. He gave those rights back in 2023. But by then, millions were already gone. Still, music was just the start. He wanted fashion. He wanted liquor. He wanted control. Soon, he wanted everything. And in 1998, Diddy launched his clothing brand, Sean John. By 2004, it was making over $400 million a year. He even won the biggest award in fashion. The dream looked complete. A kid from Harlem with no father was now dressing millionaires. The cameras showed trophies, success, and praise. People called it the American dream. But dreams built on lies always crack. In 2007, he made a deal with Diageo to sell Ciroc vodka. That deal paid him up to $130 million a year. He became one of the richest stars in the world, and money turned into power. He started Revolt TV to control the media. He had music, fashion, liquor, and attention. He bought huge mansions in Los Angeles and Miami. He dated Jennifer Lopez for the world to see. He looked untouchable. But too much power is like poison. For years, no one challenged him. Then, in 2023, the cracks started to show. He sued his biggest business partner and claimed racism. Was it brave? Or was it a cover for something much worse? In May 2023, Diddy filed a lawsuit against Diageo, the company behind Ciroc vodka. He claimed they treated his products as black brands, and he demanded $100 million. He played the role of a victim fighting against racism. The media listened, and many fans believed him. The story seemed simple, but something darker was happening. Diageo did not apologize or back down. Instead, they fought back. In January 2024, they cut all ties with Diddy. The money stopped overnight. That one move cost him over $60 million a year. Forbes cut his net worth fast. He went from being a near billionaire to being worth about $400 million. The empire was bleeding. But this was only the first crack, because months earlier, something much worse had happened. On November 16, 2023, a woman from his past spoke up. Her lawsuit would change everything, and Diddy was not ready for it. Her name was Cassie Ventura from Bad Boy Records. She dated Diddy for 11 years from 2007 to 2018. On November 16, 2023, she filed a lawsuit. The world stopped listening to him. She accused him of rape, violence, and sex trafficking. She said he beat her again and again. She said he forced her into drug-filled sex acts, and he watched and recorded. She described freak-offs that lasted for hours. She said he controlled her phone, family, and career. She said leaving meant destruction. Fear ran her life. Then Diddy settled the case in 24 hours. Reports said $20 to $30 million was paid. His lawyer said it was not guilt, but the speed said everything. Cassie opened a locked door. More women stepped forward. More lawsuits followed, and the flood could not be stopped. Within weeks, more women stepped forward. Their stories went back to 1991. They spoke about drugging, assault, and silence. The pattern became clear. One woman said she was 17 years old in a recording studio. She said she was gang raped. Another said her assault was filmed without consent. Then it was shared as revenge. These were not single events. They followed the same script again and again. Fear protected him for decades, until fear stopped working. In February 2024, Rodney Jones filed a $30 million lawsuit. He accused Diddy of harassment and groping. He said Diddy forced him to hire prostitutes, and called it normal. Diddy denied everything in public. He said the claims were lies, but denial is not proof, and the truth was about to surface. On May 17, 2024, CNN released a video. It showed exactly what Cassie described, and the world finally saw the truth. The footage was from March 5, 2016 at the Intercontinental Hotel. Security cameras recorded everything in black and white. Diddy wore only a towel while chasing Cassie Ventura down a hallway. She was trying to escape. He grabbed her neck and threw her to the floor. He kicked her while she lay helpless. He dragged her back by her clothes. There was no confusion. Then he threw a vase against the wall. It shattered as she cried for safety. The video matched every word of her lawsuit. The truth was now visible. There was no more denial and no more hiding. Only violence, control, and fear on screen. The world believed her instantly. The lies were finished. 2 days later, Diddy posted an apology video. He said his behavior was inexcusable. But he apologized after the video, not before. That was survival, not remorse. The public saw a monster. The government saw a criminal. On March 25th, 2024, federal agents arrived, and they were ready to act. In March 2024, the real shock hit. U.S. Homeland Security raided 2 of his mansions on the same day, one in LA, one in Miami. Agents took phones, computers, and hard drives. But that wasn't the biggest shock. They found over 1,000 bottles of baby oil and lube. The government said these were used in freak-offs. They also found illegal AR-15 guns with the numbers scratched off. The danger was very real. Agents also found drugs like ecstasy and ketamine. Ketamine is known as a date rape drug. Worst of all, they found videos kept to control his victims. The pattern was now clear. Prosecutors said his own staff helped run the whole system. They booked hotels, hired escorts, and cleaned up the evidence. This was not just about bad choices. This was a planned, organized system. Then came September 16th, 2024. A grand jury officially charged Diddy. The charges were serious: racketeering, sex trafficking, and moving people for prostitution. That night, he was arrested in Manhattan. He was sent straight to jail, no bail. The throne was gone. The trial lasted 8 long weeks, but the final decision would shock everyone. The trial began in May 2025 under intense public attention. Cameras waited outside, and every word mattered inside. Prosecutors called Cassie Ventura as a key witness. They also called another woman known only as Jane. The courtroom became very quiet. Both women described years of abuse and fear. They spoke about drugs, threats, and constant control. They described forced freak-offs that stole their freedom. Their voices shook the room. Diddy's own lawyers admitted he was violent at times. They admitted he used drugs and caused harm. But they argued the acts were consensual, not trafficking. They pushed back hard. The defense said prosecutors overcharged the case. They said the system was punishing a powerful black celebrity. The jury listened for weeks without speaking. Then the moment arrived. On July 2nd, 2025, the verdict was split. He was cleared of racketeering and sex trafficking, but he was convicted on 2 transport charges. He avoided life, but not justice. On October 3rd, 2025, the judge gave 50 months. The judge said violence and exploitation demand accountability. Diddy cried and asked for mercy, but mercy could not save the empire. What he built for 30 years was already destroyed. Sean Diddy did not fall because of one mistake. He fell because power without control destroys itself. For 30 years, he used money, fame, and fear. That system protected him. He believed wealth made him untouchable. He believed fame made him permanent. But the video showed truth with no escape. The lies ended instantly. Victims found their voices at last. The law finally stepped in. Power does not last forever. Pain always leaves evidence. This story is a warning for everyone. No money, no fame, no power can hide abuse forever. Truth always escapes, even if it takes years. Cassie was called a liar. Other victims were ignored for decades. But they spoke anyway. And courage changed history. You have seen many Diddy videos before, but now you know the full story. This is not gossip. This is about systems protecting abusers. Until silence finally breaks, the real question remains: how many others are still hiding behind power? As of January 2026, Sean P. Diddy Combs sits in a Brooklyn prison cell. His clothing brand collapsed, his vodka deal ended, and his TV network walked away. The empire built over 30 years disappeared in just 18 months. Power faded fast. This video gave you the full story, not clips or noise. It showed how power made him untouchable. It showed how scandals removed the mask, and how everything fell apart. If this video finally made sense of it all, hit subscribe. We share truth, not clicks. Because knowing how empires fall helps stop the next one from rising. Now tell us what you think. Did he get justice or did he escape it? Drop your answer below.